Welcome to The Digital Shift. We are your hosts, Jessica Green
and Natasha Roberson. Together, we are here to help you build a tech-savvy empire and take your business to the next level.
If you're an entrepreneur, social marketer, or business owner, ready to scale smarter, not harder, this is the podcast for you.
Every week, we bring you expert insights, actionable strategies, and the latest trends to help you infuse tech into your business so you can automate, optimize, and grow.
From mastering automation and creating high-converting systems to building authentic customer connections, we cover everything you need to shift your business into higher gear.
So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and get ready to make your digital shift.
Let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Digital Shift. I am your host, Jessica Green, and today we have an extraordinary guest with us, Sheri Winesett. For over 20 years, Sheri has coached over 1,000 entrepreneurs, CEOs, and executives to elevate their leadership and achieve remarkable results. As a best-selling author and certified business and executive coach, professional behavior analyst, Sheri, I'm being judged today. That's what that just said. I'm being judged today. Sheri brings unmatched expertise in leadership development. Her latest book, Transparent Leadership, provides actionable strategies to revolutionize leadership styles, foster authentic workplace cultures, and achieve sustainable growth. Sheri's also a proud, self-made hub member and has built her leadership assets, including a 7-day challenge, a 12-week accelerator, and more, all on our platform to reach more people and grow her business. So like I said, she is a best-selling author of her Transparent Leadership for Women Who Mean Business book. She's certified in a lot of different coaching styles. She actually was a guest speaker on our virtual summit yesterday. Absolutely crushed it. And everyone is now asking for her advice. And we even brought her up on our morning meeting this morning of putting into action one of the strategies that she mentioned during the summit yesterday. So Sheri, I'm going to pass over to you, let you introduce yourself a little bit. Let's get warmed up. And I got some questions for you, Missy.
Oh, awesome, Jess. I'm so glad to hear that. And I can't wait to hear what strategy you guys are going to implement in your business. But thanks for sharing that, because I'm really all about creating impact and closing gaps. Introduce myself. Gosh, I always like to joke I'm a recovering lobbyist, but really in the traditional roles, I've been a business consultant and CEO for companies for over 20 years. And in that role, it's really all about strategic planning, cross-functional alignment. And first, what I can have the best strategy and the best plan. If you're mature leadership, it all falls apart.
Yeah, that is so true. And I mean, I think we kind of learn along the way, but it is really nice to get some help from our friends that have been there, done that, have the training, the certifications, the coaching, the expertise on being able to kind of speed up that model. And it sounds like that's kind of what you will help business owners do. Like, I got to know you in a little bit different realm. Like, I didn't take any of your training. I hadn't read your book. We just met through a mutual business project that we were working on, right? You were contracted with one company. I was contracted with another, and poof, we met in the Atlanta airport for the first time face to face.
What a blessing.
Yeah. It's funny how things like that happen, right? But the cool thing is I actually got to see you get to work before I learned what you teach people, right? Like, I got to see the actual product working. And so it's been a really cool journey for our relationship over the last, what's it been? Like almost exactly a year, right? Like just over a year is when we met.
Is that it? I feel like it's got to be 2.
No, right? But I think it was beginning of last December, I was flying in from Vegas on my way to like a 3-week turnaround trip and met you guys in the Atlanta airport, and off we went. And man, I knew right then and there, I was like, man, this lady really knows what she's doing. First of all, one thing that's not mentioned here is you're extremely good at strategic partnerships and sales, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. I think you could really teach our audience how to level up on the sales front. But let's talk a little bit more about your book, because you've launched that book in this last year, and it's like a key topic that you talk on. And what does transparent leadership actually mean? Break that down for me.
Yeah, you know, transparent leadership is really about being an authentic leader, like just being you and allowing transparency into the organization and vulnerability so that everyone can be set up for success. You know, it's things like, you know, embracing measurement and, you know, the numbers and sharing them with people so they know what you're shooting for and what to expect. It's being vulnerable. It's aligning, being in alignment with your team. Everybody thinks they're in alignment, but you know, in my book, that's the thing. It's like I really wanted to include strategies that make you a great leader. I didn't want to tell people, hey, look, this is what makes you a great leader, and this is how you define that. This is how you can actually become one and leverage all these different tools to work with your team to be that leader that they want to follow. So it's really about, you know, a leader becoming the best version of themselves and waking up every day saying, how am I going to set my team up for success?
So when you go into what is your favorite thing to do? Go speak from stage, go into a new executive team, coach them, do a master class. Like what's Sherry's favorite thing to do?
Yeah, really, my favorite thing to do is to work with companies who are scaling. That's really like my sweet spot, not just in like my expertise, but it's really where my passion lies. Like I'm a go-getter, I'm a builder. And so that's what I love to do. I love to go in and help companies scale and really do that by, you know, getting my hands dirty and aligning and strategizing and helping everyone achieve the vision.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. This was not in the list of things I said I was going to ask you. Are you ready? So, can you tell me one of your favorite stories, companies, one of your like best examples of going into a company? You can name the company or just not name the company, doesn't matter to me. And just give me an example of like, I went into this company, here's where they were at. This is what I helped them do. When you say I'm a builder, what did you help them build? And where did you leave them? Like, then there's an exit for you, right? At some point, because you're just coming in to contract and help them get to a certain place, and then your job is done. So, tell us what that looks like. Give us an example.
Yeah, you know, I have a background in franchising and it was brought into a company right during COVID. It was April 2020 and they said, "Hey, we want to actually launch this new franchise concept and we really need somebody who can come in and, you know, just build it from the ground up." And so I was like, "Oh, okay, we're going to launch during COVID. Yeah, let's go. Challenge. I'm into it." And so what was really cool is that we immediately started with the EOS system. So what we did is we went in and we hired people. We made sure like we had the dream team. It was a total dream team of go-getters, but we put an operating system and tools in place that would actually help us be like glued, right? Like aligned from day one. And so we went in, we created rocks, we created milestones, vision tracker, all these things that we talked about. But we had discipline from the start. We had loyalty, we had commitment from the start. And what we were able to do, long story short, is we were able to exceed our revenue projections by 33% that first year, really by, you know, implementing a lot of the principles that are in my book.
Uh, okay. So I
Does
like,
that sound fun or what?
yeah, well, of course it does, because here we are, a startup, right? And we have just laid out our 2025 goals for the year. And, I'm pretty good at hustle. Like, I used to actually call myself the hustle gal, which is kind of gross because then I made myself that. Right. And sometimes you get some burnout from that. But we set our goals. I'm pretty good at achieving them. We have a very small, lean, mean team here at Self Made so that we can now scale over the next year. So all the things you're talking about are the things that I know we need to implement. When you say EOS system and an operating system, are you meaning like actual tech, or are you meaning like guidelines, framework for the business to actually hit their targets and goals and a place to measure those things? What do you mean by that?
Well, the entrepreneur operating system is actually a framework on how to gain major traction in your business. And so it gives you tools and such, but you can actually, you know, bring that framework into your existing tech. It's just a matter of executing, the framework and staying committed to it and consistent to it. So the great thing about that framework is that it sets expectations, it has consistency, it gets everyone to the table totally aligned and accountable to their numbers, because guess what? They know what their role is in hitting those numbers, right? And it sounds so crazy, but you just mentioned, a lot of times that's the easy part for people, is getting your strategic plan in place and knowing what your goals are. But then how are you keeping it consistent? How are you keeping it in the forefront, tracking it? And also, here's where the leadership comes in. How are you empowering your team and setting them up for success to stay on track and hit those goals for the company? Because ideally, you've hired really smart people. And
Right.
a lot of times when you're sitting in a COO or a CEO role, like, man, I can go in and I'm like, I've worn so many hats, right? As a COO,
Right.
I see I could do a bunch of it, but that's not how I'm going to gain major traction. It's going to be by empowering others on my team and setting them up for success.
I will say that has been one of my biggest roadblocks and lessons learned, I'd say, over the last 5 years. And my business partner, Natasha,
Who's
we
amazing.
both yeah, who is amazing, really has been kind of playing in that COO role, though she's more of like our chief marketing officer. So some of those shifts are coming soon, but we both are really type A, very driven personalities, but we're also like get shit done people. And so
Yeah,
if anyone is going to work slow, both her and I do the same, have in the past done the same thing. Let me just do it. I can get it done faster. I'll just do it. And I know that for type A CEO type people, it is a bad habit and can actually collapse your whole team. So I think what you're talking about is extremely important when it comes to an executive team and running a successful company. I have definitely learned those lessons, but I am also a recovering type A control freak that is trying to empower. Now it's almost laughable on our team sometimes if you come to me and say, "Hey, I have this really great idea. I want to do this." I'm like, "Good, sold. You go execute it."
I love
Now
it.
they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I should bring her any more ideas. I get myself a whole nother job." I'm like, did you think I was going to do it? Because I'm not going to do it. But yeah, I
Right.
love that. And I think more organizations really, if they learned that lesson faster, could scale a whole lot. I don't even want to say faster, but just better, right? Like the
Better.
whole team feels empowered and all of those things. So when you go into an organization and you're going to help them with these things, what do you find are like the things that the team struggles with the most? Hey, I'm sitting here being super selfish asking you these questions because we are probably your avatar, right? And so like I'm sitting here picking your brain because I'm like, well, I could just go implement some of the things that she teaches these people. So I just want to know what we're struggling with. Right? Like,
Yeah.
what do
Well,
most companies struggle with the most when you come in?
so, I don't know what you're struggling with, but most companies struggle with just clear expectations and communication. Internal communication is such a hard thing, and really nailing that and making sure all the players are involved. And this is where transparency comes into play, right? It's like, think of the companies who every year they do a performance review. Well, how are you reviewing me? Is it subjective? Like, tell me on a quarterly basis, tell me at the beginning of the year, let me be part of that planning process so that we can set the expectations together. So I know there's a common theme there, right? Transparency and communication. Well, some people in fast growing companies say, I don't have time for that. And it's like, well, actually, that's going to create more time for you if your team isn't wondering, am I on the right track? Or if you aren't wondering, what did everybody do
Right.
this week,
Yeah.
right? That moved the needle. But the key too, Jess, is like, um, I see people sometimes wanting to be a bigger part of the picture that aren't. And so it's the culture, it's the stuff that's so important. How are you building that culture and letting people
Yeah. 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 So you said a couple of things there that resonate with me. One is a little over a year ago when we kind of bumped into each other, we were definitely contracting for different companies. And one of the companies that I was contracting for, they were a startup too. And it was the communication was kind of tough amongst they're working in multiple countries and different teams coming together. And communication was always what I felt like it came down to causing the hiccups, right? Like we just needed, I always call myself an over communicator. And sometimes it drives people nuts. I'm like, I want everyone on the Zoom meeting. I want all the parties at the table. So where do you draw the line between having everyone involved and giving everyone a voice and being careful not to give too many people too many voices? Like I'll give you one example of when I was on a network marketing team as a network marketing leader, I always fostered that communication and wanted everyone to have a voice. And I'd put, different people, different leadership up in front of the room to train. And that backfired on me a couple of times because those people probably in the long run shouldn't have been people in the front of the room training and giving their ideas, because then people start following the wrong leadership style or the wrong things or the wrong tasks
Sure.
at hand. So like, how do you differentiate who comes to the table? And maybe sometimes there does need to be a little bit of barrier, like, hey, Susie, I want you to be on some meetings, but you're not going to be privy to all of the information because some meetings are meant for just this group of people. And how do you foster culture that doesn't get like weird when you do that?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And I think that's where systems come into place. Like, what is your tech system or operating system that you're working with that's going to kind of set those expectations? So, I'm going to give you an example, the entrepreneur operating system, just because I really love implementing this with companies. Is, you bring someone on board and you have what's called level 10 meetings on a weekly basis. And at those level 10s, you're looking at, rocks,
Like,
milestones, to dos, action steps, all that jazz for the company, which you may be doing something similar. But you have level 10s a lot of times, then those executives, they go have level 10s with their teams, depending on how big the company is, right? But the whole idea from a level 10 is that then that person is to take away the action items and then go communicate that with their team. And so, one way to do it is just by having this operating system, you can set expectations from the beginning. And you can determine that depending on where you are in your business with your existing team. And so, it may be bringing someone on board saying, hey, our leadership team, right? Or the founders meet weekly to discuss this. And then maybe you start, depending on, again,
right.
where you are in the business, with a bi weekly meeting with the entire team. But the way to get, my recommendation is always just have the leadership team. That's the only level 10 you need, your ETL, executive team, ELT, whatever you want to call it, executive leadership team. And from there, it's their responsibility to get other people the information you need. And then how you get the entire team involved to have input is you do quarterly planning meetings and you do rate on a bigger scale versus just to who the few team members they're working with.
Yeah. Outstanding. I did something similar to that with actually just did a podcast interview. I need to introduce the two of you. I did a podcast interview a couple days ago with Tony Ferraro, and he
Oh,
specializes in some of that. And he came in
yeah.
and did some of that with us for the previous company that I was working with. And outstanding guy at running those kinds of quarterly meetings, sat through one with them, and unbelievable. And it could grow a company by leaps and bounds if all of those things are then followed
Oh
and
my
carried
gosh.
through. Unbelievable. Yeah.
It's
I
one of
think,
my favorite things because everyone looks at the 3 to 5 year plan and but the thing is you got to keep going and chunk it down, right? And so you
yeah,
chunk it down
90 days.
into 90-day goals, right? And
Yeah,
then how are you helping people track on a weekly basis? Then the 90-day goals you chunk down into weekly action plans to,
yeah,
so that's 13 weeks of an action plan to achieve a 90-day goal, right?
100%. Okay, I'm going to switch gears on us with the Transparent Leadership book and the things that Sheri was exploring and doing, creating a 7-day challenge and maybe a bigger mastermind for more executives to be able to join it. you decided, hey, let me tap on Jessica's shoulder and see what we can accomplish here at the
Yeah.
Self-Made Hub. So you did become a hub member. We provide all your tech for your systems and all of those things. We're super grateful for you. You're now leveraging the Self-Made Hub for your entire 7-day leadership challenge. Can you tell us a little bit more about, number one, the leadership challenge, why people should go through it, but also the tech side of it? So one question, then one A and then one B. Answer
Yeah.
why the 7-day challenge. What did you build there? Why should executives go through it? And then let's talk about the tech side of it. Like, what do they actually do on a tech perspective in the background? Like, how does it unlock and all those things?
Yeah. Gosh, I want to make sure I'm answering your question. So remember, my primary role, right? What I'm in there doing is how, as a business coach, COO, whatever you want to call it, I'm helping companies scale. But I wanted to expand my impact, and I knew that people needed more leadership training or even tools. They needed a toolkit, right? Not just to be told, you need to be authentic, you need to be this. How do you become it? But I needed leverage, right? And so what I was able to do was I was able to leverage through technology, which we'll talk about in a minute, and make the digital shift to create a bigger impact.
That's the actually perfect way. If I could have paid you to say that, I would have. Like, that was the perfect thing that people need to do right now, is take their skill set like you did, come to us and help us, have us help you create that digital shift in your business. You have a skill set that is unmatched. You have a way that you can help a ton of executives and entrepreneurs scale their business using your coaching and in your mentorship. And what better way to get that out there more than to have it hosted on a tech platform where people can access it. And we're going to give everybody the link below to your Transparent Leadership 7-day challenge so that people can come in and check that out and take it. They can see it from a perspective of leadership. They can also see what kinds of things that we here at Self-Made Hub help our members build. So let's talk about the build for just a second. We'll switch over
Yeah.
to that. So people can, you're doing really well on social media. You kind of go out there and can have people comment a keyword, and they can, through automation, get on your list, which is what you are doing, is expanding your list and building more executives and more people who want to learn about leadership. And then
Yeah.
they can join this 7-day challenge, which then puts them inside of the hub. It unlocks lessons over 7 days that you teach, all about leadership and transparent leadership, and actionable items that they should be taking to put into their business. And all of this is happening on automation. So Sheri came in and hired us to come and build this for her. So we do, obviously, people can come and just be a part of our platform and build the things themselves, or they can take our accelerator and build it with us, which is where you were maybe going to start. And then you were like, yeah, I don't really want to build the tech myself. Let me hire
Yeah.
you guys to just do it for me. And so we do all three of those styles of business. Sheri ended up opting for us to build it for her so that then she could have the system and the automation could be working for her in the background while she's out doing the do, right? She's doing what she's really good at, which is the coaching and leadership, the coaching of executives, the going in and being the fractional COO of companies and helping them scale their business. Sheri decided that building the actual tech herself wasn't a good use of her time. Let us do what we're
Yeah.
really good at. She could do what she's really good at. And we've created this really great 7-day challenge. So, how was that experience for you working with Self-Made and the Self-Made Hub, getting that 7-day challenge off the ground?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. So it totally transformed like someone who didn't know a lot about tech to being like really tech savvy.
Love
With
it.
your help, of course, behind the scenes. But think about it, Jess, like you said, like we're all busy kind of doing what we do. When I go in and I'm a fractional COO, right? I can only help a couple companies at a time. And so by writing a book, right, this is where all the leverage and the systems come in place. I'm able to expand my impact. But then where do once you write a book, like I think of all the people who have written a book out there. What's your next step? What are you going to do with it? Literally just written so much content. You've done a brain dump of your expertise. So I was like, well, I'm going to build a course on my 7 keys in my book. And that's when I came to you guys and was like, hey, I've got the content, right? But how I need people to come to one place. And I think that was a really huge, like, decision maker for me. Because when we started, if you recall, and you know how I
Yeah.
am, I'm like, okay, my eyes get this
Lots of
big.
ideas.
Jess knows when I've had enough. It's like, wait, well, I've got a Facebook community. Now then I have this community. Like I'm managing so much. Where am I taking people? And what I found is with self-made, I was able to build a course. I was able to house the course in self-made. I had funnels, would take people through and give them more information yet, like these automated to, hey, you ready yet? Or I'd love to give you a free chapter in my book. I had emails, an email list being created. My social media was going out through there. I had autoresponders where people could say, hey, I'd say, hey, drop the word free, to join the the free 7-day leadership challenge. And they could drop it and would automatically get like an email. So for me, it was like a built-in virtual assistant. But then the real kicker was that I got rid of like 3 or 4 other subscriptions. Do you remember what I had? God, I
Yeah.
had Bitly. I had like Wix for my
Yeah.
website, totally old school, moved my website over into self-made, created my own hub link in self-made. What else did I get rid of? Gosh, there were so
Yeah,
many.
we have this conversation with people every single day because sometimes people are like, well, I just don't know if I want to add the extra expense of having a hub for my business. I'm like, you can't afford not to. Because number one, I know you're spending subscription money on an email provider and text service and
Oh, yeah.
QR code generator and a course builder and a funnel builder and a website host. Like you're using all of it. And if you're not, quite honestly, you need to shift into 2025 and get some tech infused into your business. So if you're doing tech in any way, shape, or form, we will save. I mean, we save everybody money. Like anyone and everyone who comes in that is already using tech, we save them money. And if you're saying, well, I don't really spend any money on tech, that's a problem. You need to be. And we're probably your best option because you're going to go out there and try to duct tape a bunch of stuff together and spend way more money than you would with us. So,
And
no.
that's exactly it, right? So it simplifies it and it lets you come to one place. I mean, gosh, one login versus like 15 alone
One
is
tech
a gift.
support, one place to do it all has been a game changer for a lot of
Oh,
businesses.
hey, listen, and I really think it's important to hear this. Like, well, one of the things you mentioned was the courses. That was really a kicker for me too, because remember, I was about to get on Kajabi. And I was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I'm going to invest in like another thing and have to go to another place. And I don't even know how to use Kajabi, right? And so, what I thought was really awesome with you guys too is that, you guys are there, you're mentors, like you do so much training and support. And I actually was signed up on a GHL platform with another agency where I got zero support. And then once I met you guys, and I actually saw through a client what kind of support you were giving, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get over here really quickly because the tech support is freaking amazing. Like I can just get on a chat and have someone do something like that seems like a really big thing. They can guide me through it or do it for me. All the weekly calls that you guys have, just allowing people to let you know how you can help. The academy you have in there. Sometimes I don't even need to bother you, right?
We've built it so that you don't. Now, I will say there's plenty of people out there infusing the same GHL technology. We infuse a couple of different technologies along with GHL to make up what is the self-made hub. And then we
Mhm.
create a totally different environment for people. So like it's such a great point that you brought that up is people are like, well, there's plenty of people who supply GHL out there. Yeah, it's the level of service you're going to get. So it's like, what are you looking to do with your business? Do you need a tech savvy mentor to help you along the way? Because that's really what we do. Do you want to just go at it at your own and have no templates, no walkthrough videos, no, like, what do you want for your business? Do you want a partner in your business? And number one, we're not just tech savvy mentors. Natasha and I are veteran business owners who have a lot of strategy behind us too. So we, yes, meet with our members every single week, live and in person. You get us as part of your membership. And I think that's a game changer. I'm not trying to toot our own horn, and it's a game changer. It's a difference between us and any other platform out there. You're getting actual live help from business owners and two who are really good at the tech and the systems and the automation and the strategy. Because you can come to us and brain dump, here's what I want to build. We can tell you if it's possible on our system. And we always say, like, everything's possible. So just ask, we'll try to figure it out. But yeah, we're in it to win it with our members. It's not just a platform here, come plug your business in. We are definitely want to help you scale a business and do all of the right things. All right.
Well,
So,
and think about too, it's about the experience, right?
oh
People want
yeah.
a great experience, and anyone who's probably using, the self-made platform is thinking about their end user experience. Well, you want that experience too, right? So, yeah, I really appreciate the expertise that you guys brought to the table, and it is a real partnership. I mean, that's why I wanted to work with you.
Yes, it is. It's a real partnership. That's the best way of saying it. So, all right, we're going to wrap up here. I just want to share with you guys, Sheri showed us how transparent leadership can transform teams. It can build trust. It can drive a sustainable growth and scalability in a company. I'm going to be picking her brain a whole lot more now that I have the inside scoop on what goes on in that brain of hers and what she helps companies do. We also explored how she uses Self-Made Hub to scale her leadership programs and create lasting impact for lots of people trying to embrace leadership and systems and team duplication and all of the things, right? So you can take her 7-day challenge. We're going to drop that link below so that you can get yourself signed up for that. And you can see how she works, how transparent leadership, how all of the skill set she has can transfer into your business. You can also see how that 7-day challenge works using the technology of the Self-Made Hub. So if you are ready to step into transparent leadership and embrace the power of technology to grow your business, take Sheri's advice, start building systems that work for you. And remember, leadership is about creating a legacy of trust, motivation, and growth. And join us on the next episode so that we can further your information on the Self-Made Hub and those that are using it to scale their business. Sheri, is there any last words that you'd like to share with our listeners before we hop off?
Oh man, I was talking about it yesterday, right? The two superpowers in your business are you and systems. And so,
Yes. And you know
um,
that I love superpowers. I love talking about superpowers.
yeah, so, systems in your business, for me, this was a game changer, and really appreciate you having me on the show today.
And I wasn't planning on saying this, but I just remembered I told you at the beginning of the show that we actually talked on a meeting this morning about something you shared on the summit yesterday. There was two things, and one is not coming back to my memory right at this moment in time, but the other one was triggers and knowing and learning and understanding on an executive team or a network marketing team or what any type of team where you need to build some culture is knowing the things that trigger you. And I jokingly text or messaged in the chat of the summit yesterday that Natasha was sitting in the green room writing down all of my triggers because she's very clear on what triggers me. And we were kind of laughing while you were doing it, but we talked about it again this morning. It's one thing we want to do on our team is not to bring up what everybody is like catfighting about or gets them ornery, but I think it's good for all of us to know what does trigger us in business. Natasha knows right away when not even internally our team, but when something happens a certain way with a client or whatever, there are certain things for certain reasons why it triggers me. I was never going to have a boss ever again. So there's some phases we're working through with clients, right? They are our boss in a sense. And so I have to get used to that a little bit more. And she knows that there's certain things that will trigger me. So she kind of tries to smooth those things out and help, shepherd those processes along. So it's not so knowing on your team what triggers each team member, not silly stuff, but like real stuff that
Yeah.
that bothers them, that will get them triggered. You talked about the dog and the pillow and the disrespect yesterday, which I thought is a hilarious story because it seems
Well,
so
it's meant to be
simple.
hilarious because I laughed at myself when I figured it out. I was like, this is a dog.
Yeah. So, right. But you felt disrespected over it. And I'm like, wow, that's so true about so many things in business. So sorry, I kind of went down another tangent there, but I wanted to tell you, we actually did talk about that this morning. And there was one other one too. And it's going to come to me as soon as we hop off of here. I know it, that we were like, we need
Celebrate
to do it.
mistakes.
Nope, it wasn't that. It was
Darn.
something
You're
very
like, I
specific.
don't make mistakes.
Oh no, we do for sure. We try to learn from
Remove
those
the
very quickly.
excuses. Gain outside perspectives. I don't know.
Oh, I can't
Well, good.
remember.
I'm glad
I'll
you
have to
shared
check
that
this
with
out
me.
because I was like, remember what Sheri said yesterday? If we
Yeah.
were listening. And so
Stop
I'm trying to
making
remember what that
excuses.
was, but it was a really good lesson for us just first thing this morning. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for being on, and to learn more about Sheri and where to follow her. You'll be able to see all of that in the podcast pages below. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to The Digital Shift. We hope today's episode gave you the tools and inspiration to take your business to the next level.
Don't forget, we have something for everyone to help you scale smarter. Whether you're just getting started or ready to go all in, we've got you covered.
Start with 14 days of free access to the Self-Made Hub, our all-in-one platform to automate, optimize, and grow your business.
Looking for more? Check out our Self-Made membership, where you can work at your own pace with help from your tech-savvy mentors.
Or take it to the next level with our 10-week accelerator program, perfect for those ready to scale with expert guidance and systems all in one place.
And if you're looking for done-for-you options, from custom funnel builds to fully done-for-you marketing systems customized just for your business,
visit us at www.self-made.biz to explore all of our programs and tools and find the perfect fit for your business needs.
Let's make your digital shift a reality. See you next time.